All right, let's get down to business. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness Season 1, Episode 2. Now, before I get started, 2 things I need to talk about. Firstly, someone on Twitter said something around the lines of this, and I was like, bruh. This was a bruh moment. So, they were like, well, why are you guys mad that Claire wasn't equal or top billing to Leon? It's not like she's a part of Infinite Darkness all that much. Dum-dum. You answered your own question? Why we're mad. She should have gotten equal time. This America propaganda. I don't care, by the way. I know, this is, was made in Japan and whatnot, and that's why they're calling it anime and whatnot, but for real, literally any place can promote propaganda from anywhere before you even come at me like, oh, this wasn't American made. Shut up. Any place can make any propaganda anywhere. Propaganda isn't just one place. It better serves when you're having propaganda made domestically. But of course, how do you get global domination when you don't spread the seed? Other places can help other places propagate. But honestly, she should have gotten equal time. This American propaganda side insignificant series shouldn't even exist. We're not mad that this show didn't give her time. In fact, I'm actually glad that she wasn't put in it so much because it's a crap story so far. So far so bad. But I'm sure they will say, well, Leon was great, but Claire kind of just ruined the whole thing. Everything's terrible because of Claire. Maybe she should get off her duff and do something. Like she didn't want to. Like she wasn't animated and written to be garbage. We're mad that we have yet another Leon Chronicle to add. Vendetta tried, but they couldn't cut the mustard. They didn't have someone that was ready to suck Leon off so hard. It was someone who was not interested in giving Leon another. They actually gave him some form of humanity. And people didn't like that. So that's why we're here. Secondly, Leon's insertion into every animated movie is because his quote unquote popularity, I call it pseudo-popularity. To be honest, Leon is not the most popular character of the RE universe. That crown will always belong to Jill Valentine. And I'm a Claire stan, so I'm not even going to be biased and be like Claire's the favorite. Honestly, I don't think as many people even like Claire as they do Chris, which is also a problem, but whatever. I'm fine with that because Chris was in the first one. I can't say anything. Claire was in the second one with Leon. If Leon is more important than Claire, Chris and Jill are more important than Leon. And that's what I will say. Claire Redfield is really important to Resident Evil. Honestly, she carries so much weight in Code Veronica that it's insulting that you guys are making Resident Evil 4 before Code Veronica. Makes literally no sense. I have a video on why Resident Evil Code Veronica deserves a remake and why Resident Evil 4 does not deserve a remake. Link to the Resident Evil playlist is in the description if you'd like to go check that out. Just watching these CG movies would lead you to believe Claire Redfield is literally a side character when she's not. And also, y'all been playing the Save Me game with her since Code Veronica and Revelations 2. Don't get me wrong, I love Code Veronica, but y'all did play her as the damsel for sure in Resident Evil Revelations 2, no questions asked. At least in Code Veronica, it was just her brother coming to save her. Barry should have never been put in a game with Claire ever. They were never in a, that's a strange, why would she know him? Yeah, she may know him from Chris, but why wouldn't she, why wouldn't Jill be there? Why, if anyone had to go save Claire, why not Jill? Women can't save other women? Women can't save anyone? Is that what I'm getting? Because I'm getting that. I have yet to see that. Why on earth did we have Barry pop in here? Why does she know Barry like they're friends? How old was Claire in Code Veronica? Because last time I checked, I do believe in Resident Evil 1, Barry was in his 30s. Late. So, as it stands, are we playing as some 40, 50-year-old man in Revelations? I know he's not still in his 30s. He had to be 38 in Resident Evil 1. Please put in the comments how old he is, how old Barry is, and how old Claire is as of Resident Evil Revelations 2. Because I'm sitting here are you serious? Is that why he had to be carried around with some little girl? Because he's older? And I'm not saying 50 is ancient. What I'm saying is it's real interesting how you've got this 50-year-old dude or so coming to save these girls when all you had to do was put Jill in this game? Why is it called Revelations 2 if it has nothing to do with Revelations 1? But I digress. As I was saying, Leon's pseudo-popularity stems from the small minority of the Leon fans who only started liking Leon when they made him with no flaws, overpowered white knight, while everybody else gets weaker around him, including Chris Redfield. How are you going to be so strong you can punch boulders and then be so weak that you have no idea how to shoot things? Honestly, he's like that in these movies, except Vendetta, which Leon fans of course hate because he's got some form of something that stops him from being one. And even it doesn't even stop him. How are you going to go from being a drunkard? It didn't, like, if you were going to make him drunk, people don't just stop drinking. And I have that problem with Chris in Resident Evil 6. You don't just get off the bottle. People wane themselves off the bottle. And if you're not going to wane yourself, he's definitely not going to be shooting properly. But they made him so coordinated that he could use a motorcycle as a weapon. Riddle me that. Like, I'm not saying people don't just stop drinking. But what I'm saying is, for them to function, they must have a form of alcohol level. To function, not to aim correctly, to function. So get that correct before you put it in the games. The reason why Capcom listens to that small minority of Leon stans is because they are louder and a lot more irrational than us, the normal people. They're afraid if they give a woman any agency over Leon, they will take to the internet, cause a panic among the gaming community, and sink their sails of whatever slop they're trying to peddle at the time. Enough of that. On to the quick bit of it all. So the show starts up with more politics. Interesting. We can't talk about politics? Like, it's hilarious. This is literally, I think that was a joke. I'm going to take it as a joke and laugh. Haha. That was me laughing. So we're not supposed to talk about politics, but literally Vendetta had less to do with politics than this does. Degeneration had less to do with politics than this does. It didn't take place in the White House. It didn't take place during a time of duress for a country that seems to be nothing but dust. I've yet to see buildings. And yes, there can be people there are places that are busted because of war. But guess what? They still exist. They still live. They're not just living in rubble. Not every single place. And they're not just living in dust. So please don't give me that. But we start off with more politics on the radio. American propaganda. We're following Jason's daymare. It looks like he's seen a dead body or something, but we don't see what he sees. And he's awoken by none other than the loser himself, Leon Scott Kennedy. He asks, does he want to talk about it? Leon, you are no shrink. You're not good with people. You're not a people person. You're a shoot 'em up, banging up person. Does he look like he wants to talk about it? Look at him. He looks like he's on crank. Okay. And then after he says no, then we go into the political OP. I skipped it because it's too political. It's too political. Y'all love to complain about politics and whatnot. And, oh, woke, go broke. You gone broke. Because whoever made that OP, I don't like it. And it's gross. And I'll skip it every time. Too bad, so sad that you wasted your afternoon making it. It sounds like freaking the American March on your way to steal your oil. We go to the Bates Motel, where this is the one and only time we see Claire in this 26 minutes. And like, she sits in this motel, cheap motel. I guess she doesn't have a good enough job to pay for, like, Leon has been flown in on a secret chopper, helicopter, whatever, jet. And Claire's sitting in some motel because she can't afford nothing else. Interesting. And maybe she's doing it because we don't know, because y'all are listening to what I only know from whatever episode I'm on. So I don't know if in the future someone's chasing her or she needs to be in some secret place. But honestly, I think it's real interesting that she's just in some motel and like Leon's like having caviar by the seashore, you know? It's just insane. Slowly but surely reducing herself into a Vicky Vale to Leon's Batman. Literally. She cyber searches Penam Stan's Civil War. I will be referring to it as Penam Stan by itself. But later, I'm not going to keep saying Penam Stan, which I heard a lot in this episode. Thanks to Claire, I now know how to say it and what it looks like. I saw it in the first one, but it happened so quick and I didn't feel like going back because I didn't feel like it. So we get from her that 2 people survived, all others from the war, and the rest killed themselves. We get a flashback with the ops, all white, 1 black man, par for the course. And yes, he does kill himself. We see that Not Ada is here, pretty cool. I was wondering when she'd have some sort of relevance aside from being a pseudo Ada for Leon's enjoyment and oogling. So we turn back to that dude, the hero of Panam Stan. After he sits there and wipes off his perspiration, after saying no to Leon, after 2 seconds, the hero of Panam Stan tells us he's the hero of Panam Stan. So this is going to be like the 6th time they said that. So I'm not going to keep saying the hero of Panam Stan. He doesn't believe he deserves the title, and he admits being traumatized. Not something I'm used to seeing a man in RE have issues with, except the ones they try to make weaker to boost up Leon. But this is what I expect from those trying to appeal to a certain demographic. Personally, I don't stigmatize mental health or believe showing signs of trauma means weakness. But this 4-part movie wasn't made for me. It was made for those losers who complained that Leon showed any sign of weakness in the form of alcoholism due to his traumatic experiences. So not only did they have to sideline Claire in this Infinite Darkness series, that should have been a movie. I don't know why they didn't make it a movie, and make her a trapped princess for the 3rd time in RE history. But they had to create this very political America propaganda series that included a man who is shell-shocked as Leon just talks about his experiences being hard. He's like, man, it's been hard. Like he's like trying to pass a kidney stone or something. And then he's going right back to time to meet your maker. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Like one-liners, honestly. And there's like a lot in this one too. I don't like it. Hate to see it. Hate to hear it. So Leon tells the hero of Pancakes he was in Raccoon City, and he's skeptical because Leon does not act like he has any form of PTSD or anything. He acts like he's just a laid-back emo boy bander from the 2000s. He admits to starting out as nothing but a loser rookie cop late to his first day. How you late on your first day, boy? How you late on your first day? What a loser. And then they talk about morality and who was killed and who had to die. And he was like, yeah, the place was neutralized. And that other guy, they're making this dude, even though he had nothing really of substance in the beginning of this series, the first episode, they're making him out to be this horrible person, and they kill him in this. He goes through a whole transition. We don't even get to engage in this dude and have any moral. Like, we're basically told Leon good, hero, Panam Stan bad. Literally. It's literally spelled out for us. But I refuse to deal with it, and I'll explain later. But honestly, I'm not interested in this series. It's boring and adds nothing to the canon, really. Leon has the audacity to tell the hero of Panam Stan, oh, well, people were still alive in there. And the hero of Panam Stan was like, yeah, blow up a city to save the country. Even though in the live action, it didn't save nobody. It was hilarious. It was quite comical that it just didn't do nothing and didn't work. And even though those were the same people that said by the end of the movie they intended for the virus to escape. But those were the same people who blew up Raccoon City for no reason. If they wanted it to escape, why didn't they just like give a kiss on the forehead to every person that left? But I digress. If you want to hear my opinions about the live action movies, I do have a playlist, thoughts of mine, that holds all of the quick bits from the first Resident Evil live action movie to the very last. It was a marathon of Resident Evil movies, the road to Infinite Darkness. This road, the road you're on right now. Hi. But honestly, I'm just like so sick of this. This is too political for me, honestly. Y'all love to complain about how there's all these politics and everything, but this is the most political story, and there's literally no reason to do this. There's literally, like, we weren't asking for, hey, I wonder how Leon would react in a story where he has to choose between his country and the right thing. Literally, we didn't have to ask this question. Literally, this movie could have been about him going to some Midwestern town, freaking finding out that there's a parasite or something. I think it's real interesting that y'all don't do the parasites anymore, but you make it seem as if it's the same. Like in Vendetta, they made it seem like there was a host because people were reverted back to humans. And now it's still a virus thing. But whatever. Maybe it's because you guys are listening to the small minority that like Leon, and they were like, oh, where's the zombies? Even though you're still not getting the zombies. You're giving us zombies here, because I still yet to know if you can do the whole reverse thing that Vendetta did, which was gross. Vendetta really, honestly, should have gotten a 5 out of 10 because it was really, like, gross. It was gross. But it's only a 7 out of 10 because Leon was pushed to the wayside the way he should be. And I added another point because it was comical. It was actually funny, like a comedy. And I know you didn't intend for Vendetta to be a comedy. So, whatever. But I digress. You think this heart-to-heart with the hero of Panam Stan would make Leon a little bit uneasy and, like make him feel like he's losing himself. Give him some sort of weakness. Weakness as in character. He's strong always. He's stoic always. He's bad A always. He's like literally a superhero always. And he has no form of tether. He doesn't have anything that stops him. Even when he's confronted with your country may be doing harmful things, he's still like, nope, country, USA, I'm Captain America, USA. Even though Captain America isn't even for the government. That's why he was against them controlling superheroes in Civil War. Really interesting. You'd think that Iron Man would be the one who wouldn't want a control over the superheroes because he's like some rich dude who he wants to keep his money, but the government will take it away from him. Even though, ironically, that doesn't really happen. It's just... It's a lot, and I'm not going to talk about it here. But no, they really don't give him any flaws. There's no flaws, and that's all I can say about him. Wow, come to think of it, if I didn't know any better, he kind of sounds like something that rhymes with fairy poo. Literally right after he's done having that heart-to-heart with the hero of Popeyes, he starts popping off one-liners again and slick with the tongue. No change, no character development, and then the sub is compromised, the sub that they're on. By the way, they're on a sub. They're underwater. The political people, hero of Pajama Pants, and not Ada, kill survivors. So we're like, oh, gasp. The people who are from this country that America was impeding on because it was a civil war and we shouldn't have been there, don't like America? Gasp. I saw that coming. Leon investigates the dead bodies and finds BOW rat. The camera action with him running down this submarine thing is really nice. I like it. I love to watch him go, and I hate to see him stay. He runs, more one-liners pop off out of his mouth. He escapes with the political people, and we don't really see them escape the water. We just have to make an inference that they got out because they're above ground now. Back at the White House, the other political people informed the President of the United States, another very important political person, the submarine had a distress signal and China is close to their last ping. I saw Leon, the hero of Pin on Pan, and not Ada walk. My mistake. It's just not Ada she's got this back lean looking walk. She's like looking upwards. It's really terrible. I'm letting you know it's really terrible. Please watch it. If you have Netflix, don't get Netflix just to watch this crap. Find it somewhere free. Watch that girl walk. It looks crazy. They should have fixed that. Looks like she's attempting to hold multiple pennies between her butt cheeks. Leon confronts the political people about killing the crew, even though it's like, how does he really know what happened? I mean, yeah, I guess they left the knife in there. They didn't have to. They literally could have made it seem like they did a poor job. I guess they assumed that Leon would die. But again, he's a superhero. Nothing bad happens to him. And I'm not saying he should die. I'm not saying that's even possible because Resident Evil 6 has not happened yet. What I'm saying is nothing bad ever happens to Leon. He never the only time he got infected was when you gave him too much confidence. So hopefully I see that something like that happen around this time. The hero of Papa John's Pizza admits to being against the US government. Awesome. The hero of Pajama Pants says the US is the enemy. Leon asks for proof. Like any amount of proof would change his bootlicker mind. He's directly employed by the President of the United States. Say what you want about Chris, but he's no bootlicker. He has always been on the side of justice. When he went to Africa, he was even talking to Sheva. He understands the complexities of capitalism that plagues his country and the world. He's not pro-government like Leon is. He's pro-people. And that's one of many reasons why Chris is better than Leon. Leon has the audacity to judge the hero of Polka Dot Island for killing civilians when Leon just killed civilians in Vendetta. Like, he didn't even care. He was not even like sorry. He didn't shed one tear. He was listening to a woman cry on the phone, and right after she was done crying, he hung up. Leon plays the bootlicker of the U.S. and shoots the hero of Primo's Pizza. Not Ada escapes, and episode 2 concludes. So, recap. Leon was able to be a bad A and kill tons of BOW rats in a cool way, kill the hero of Palpatine, and Claire read. All she did was read. That was it. She didn't do nothing else. Literally, the Claire slander is appeased and rampant with this show, honestly. Her character could have been removed, and she's not really affecting the story. She's just seen as exposition, like Rebecca was in Vendetta, literally. We got everything we needed to know about the virus from Rebecca, which we could have still gotten that if A, they cared about any women, any female characters at all. B, they actually cared a little more about Rebecca than literally any side character and actually showed Rebecca actually teaching her class. All right, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about the E-virus. Literally, they didn't care about Rebecca. That's why she and Claire are both just exposition for us. They're literally used like prostitutes and thrown to the side. And me personally, I support sex workers in our society. That is what people say. But honestly, so far so terrible. Y'all aren't looking too good at the scoreboard. You're getting into negative territory, and this is just the second episode. So let's just consider this the halfway point for the movie if y'all actually cared about this. But literally, I also don't want to hear anyone talk about, oh, well, if Claire was removed, then y'all would complain that Claire's not here. Yeah, we would, because Leon is being pushed for no reason. You are making more Leon stands by making these movies. They're coming out of nowhere because they're like little kids that see him and they're like, wow, cool, I want to do that. I want to be like him when I grow up. And then we see Claire and the girls watch it and they're like, I guess I'll read when I get older, I guess I'll become a damsel. I may be a teacher, but if I'm a teacher, I'm going to be a damsel anyway. I can't do nothing but teach little kids and snot-nosed adults. Like, honestly, I'm done. This was pretty long because I had that stuff to talk about in the beginning, but so far, so terrible. And pretty sure the politics isn't going to just go away. It's still there. Like I said, this is the most political piece of crap you guys have thrown in our face. And the audacity, the mitigated gall that you have left testicle, it just infuriates me. Y'all are so stupid to not even think that for a second Resident Evil is political on its own. But for you guys to add politics on top of that, it was inside. And that's one reason why one lame loser can pull up and say, Resident Evil isn't political. I should know. I played Resident Evil 4 that actually had the president's daughter be kidnapped by a foreign country. That's not political at all. But the people who just played Resident Evil 4, maybe 5, and maybe 6, those are more political than the ones in the earlier. Even Resident Evil Code Veronica has less politics than Resident Evil 4. And it's a little more political in my eye because of the whole Nazi thing that they tried to water down. But I'm done. Subscribe if you like. Talk about it in the comments, unless I literally said don't talk to me about it, because it's like, okay, and we can have a conversation. Do you like this show? Do you think this is adding anything? Do you think the Leon Chronicles is like great? Do you think it helps us? Do you think it helps anybody? Do you think it helps the game be better to know that Leon is the exact same that we've seen him the entire time? And I'm not saying they should change completely. I'm not saying they should be different people. What I'm saying is some character development. Can we get some inner conflict? Can we do that? Is that a problem here? It seems to be, because Leon keeps being the same hero. And then you're talking about Chris is not a hero to the point where you've made a literal DLC in our timeline that says Chris is not a hero. Don't talk to me if you haven't even watched a playthrough of Resident Evil 1. Honestly, I'm not here for it. Leon will never be at the same caliber as Jill or Chris Redfield. Never. You guys can play games with Claire Redfield as they've already played games with her 3 times over. But what you will not do is slander Jill Valentine's name and Chris Redfield's name. That's just not something you're going to do. They were in the first games. Literally, Thanos snapped that game the crap out of our universe, and Leon would go right along with it. And with that, I'm done.